Hi, welcome to Paper Cut Crafts. Today we're going to be using the Beauty Abounds stamp set. We're also going to use the U-Pick tool, the fine glue pen, the twine and sequins. These are from the Sale-a-bration catalog. And also the Bermuda Bay and so saffron, some snail, rectangled stitched frame dies, pair of snips, do some detail cutting, and of course Memento black ink. So I've already pre-cut this piece with the rectangle stitch dies. I have already made sure that the stamp fits in it. And I just go ahead and stamp that with the Memento black. And I always clean my stamps right away after I use them. Helps to clear up clutter. Now I'm going to use the floral piece that's in the stamp set. And I'm going to stamp that with the Bermuda Bay. I'm going to stamp 2 of these just on a piece of Whisper White cardstock. I plan to cut this out, fussy cut it. So I'm not looking for a perfect placement, just a clean image. Now it took me a few minutes to kind of figure out what I want to do with these. I know the general idea, but they look a little plain. So I wanted to color them in, but with a little pop. So I'm using a Calypso Coral Blends. I don't have just a regular marker, so I am using what I have. I'm not going to actually use it as a blends with any kind of shading. It's just to give the flowers a nice little pop and a focal point for the piece. Now I'm going to use our snips, and I am going to cut out each of these florals. I don't plan on cutting them right along the edges. I am going to leave a bit of an edge all the way around, but I am going to get as close as I can. These are quite narrow pieces on here, so I don't want to risk cutting off any pieces, so I'm just going to be going around the edges with a bit of a border. Now I'm taking the Bermuda Bay cardstock and I'm going to fold it in half for my card base. And I'm going to crease the edge real good. And I'm going to use the So Saffron as a mat. So I'm just going to use my little cutter here to cut it down to the size that I desire. And this is not a Stampin'Up little trimmer, but we do have a nice trimmer available. Here I'm just making sure that I'm cutting my mat the size I want. I usually eyeball things, but sometimes you want them to be a little more precise. Many of my designs I do find or get inspired by other designs I've seen online at different places. So this one I did see the layout somewhere, but I really don't remember where or who it was, but I do want to acknowledge that the basic layout is something I did see. It may have even been in the catalog, but I am putting my own twist on it with the words and my other background decisions. So here I am just looking at how I have it laid down. I don't really like plain backgrounds, so I'm trying to decide on what I want in the background. So I'm decided to use Calypso Coral as a highlight color, and I'm going to stamp the butterflies in this so that they have a little bit of a pop and that they draw your eye also to the flowers that were colored in the same lens color. Again, odds are a nice visual, so I am sticking with just 3 butterflies, but I'm also going to use another stamp to fill in the space. I'm just trying to decide here what color I want to stamp those background images in. And of course, I always like to clean up when I'm done. So I'm pulling out the So Saffron ink, and I was thinking of using this as a background image color just to highlight the butterflies, but as I was looking at it, I decided that I wanted to test what this would look like. So I grabbed a piece of scrap that I had and I inked it, and I realized that my stamp pad is not inked very well. It's either too inky or it's not soaked in, but it was not stamping nice, and I was trying to get a nice stamp with it, and I just couldn't get it to work properly. So in the end, I do decide not to use it, and I go with the Calypso Coral instead. I do want this to be more of a background color, so I do stamp off the first stamp, and then I use the second stamp and a third to get a less intense color with my background. And as I went along, I decided that I was just going to fill in the spaces. So I'm using the 2 different sized bubbles, I guess you can call them, stamps. And I just kind of fill it in so the butterflies are flying through like a bubble field, I guess. And I just keep stamping until I kind of filled up the whole thing, because I know that the flowers will not cover it all, and it will make a nice filler background for those as well. So now I'm bringing in the rest of the card. I'm going to attach it with snail adhesive just right in the center of my base of my card. This card, I gave it a bit bigger of a border, and then I'm going to use glue dots to attach the flowers that I cut out earlier. I'm going to attach these in an L shape on the bottom corner to make kind of like a corner frame with them. Now I'm going to bring in the sentiment that I stamped earlier. I'm going to use snail on this as well, and I'm going to just slide it in a little bit underneath the flowers. I'm trying here to line it up that the words aren't covered, but I still have the effect that I'm looking for. It was a little difficult, but I did manage to find where I wanted to place it. So my camera did run out of space on the memory card, but what I end up doing is using the fine tip glue pen to attach the sequence. You could use glue dots, but you would use quite a few glue dots to do that, so another adhesive is probably best. Now these sequins and the twine are both in the Sale-a-brations, so you have to earn these. I also used the twine together to make a bow with both pieces, both colors, and I attached that on the bottom corner where the flowers are, as you will see in the stills at the end of the video.